All right, before we get to the cooking part of the stream, let's go ahead and enjoy ourselves something happy, something wonderful. Some would even say a Jubilee. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into the fan art section. Lee Harold, thank you very, very much for the fan art here. Said, I know it doesn't look like much, but I present lemon Suris. It's just the lemon. That's less of a lemon and more of a chick, but I'll take it. As always, everybody, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. That said, let's go ahead and get my channel copyright struck again by Jubilee. Let's do that. This video is entitled Can One Woke Teen Survive 20 Trump Supporters? Surrounded. The entire crux of the show is basically to put one person with one political alignment in a little area, and then he has a timer. And with that timer, he is allowed to have multiple people come in and debate him bit by bit. Now, the person they have decided to bring on for this particular bit is actually a influencer himself. And I know that there are lots of people who saw this and said, oh, they brought Charlie Kirk on for one of them, but they brought a random nobody on for the other. But no, literally, the person they brought on is also a social media influencer himself. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. The very first claim that they are going to debate is whether or not Trump is a racist. So let's see how that worked out.
My first claim is Donald Trump is a racist.
Let me see who we've got here in
Donald Trump is a racist.
Let me see who we got here. I'm just seeing if Charlie Kirk is in the audience. No, he's not. So we don't get to see him versus Charlie Kirk again, which is unfortunate. Wow, only one person got up for it.
Yeah, so I don't understand how people get this idea that Trump is racist. You know, my family came from a communist country. They came from Cuba, and they came from Mexico. So I don't see anything or any statement that he's ever made that's racist. I mean, there's things that there's accusations, but there's no facts behind it. And this whole idea that all Hispanics are illegal immigrants and they came here undocumented is not true, because my family came here on both sides through the legal immigration process, not illegally here.
Okay, so that was a bold claim. You just said that, you know, there's no facts to substantiate the idea that Donald Trump is going to be a racist. So in the 1970s, there's civil litigation held against him by the DOJ of the state of New York for literally not renting to black people. What they did is they'd send in quote unquote testers to his...
He's got the deadpan expression on his face like, huh? Oh no, he brought facts. Oh, this isn't going to go well for me.
rental properties at the time. They'd send in a white person. The white person would ask the property manager if they had any available properties to rent. They'd say, yes, here we go, here's a housing application. Then they'd send in a black tester that asked the same question, and then they'd actually be denied. When this was investigated by the DOJ, the property manager told them that this was just a quote-unquote order.
That little downshift, like, oh, maybe the guy that I like isn't bad.
From the higher up, from this boss, from Donald Trump. And then they investigated Donald Trump, brought civil litigation against him. And they essentially determined that, he wasn't renting to black people, in which he then had to promise the DOJ that he was no longer going to racially profile in his housing application, and even had to put ads in the New York newspaper at the time, saying that he'd rent to black people.
So what you're saying is basically he's not renting to black people, but yet he employs a lot of minorities. He employs a lot of blacks, Asians, Hispanics onto his staff. So why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, he is willing to use them. He is willing to use people, but providing a home to them, maybe that's a bit a stretch too far.
Renting to black people, that doesn't make any sense. Also,
because it's an example of racism,
but also is an example that the Department of Justice is weaponized against people that do something in life.
What? How? What?
Can you give me any evidence for that?
I'll give you evidence of that. Yes, I will, because Trump was political for a very long time. He made political.
The Trump supporters can raise their flags when they would like a different speaker, and 2 people have already raised their flags.
Statements. He was very unpopular with a lot of Democrats. He would say things that they didn't like, and they would go after him. He weaponize the Department of Justice.
Wait, but that's
just like they are right now. They're weaponizing the Department of Justice against him.
He would say things and they would go after him. That's not evidence. That's just another claim. You have to now support another claim. What?
Using the government for their political power to go against him because they disagree with his political opinion. That's what they do. The Democrats have been going after him for years, even considering he used to be a registered Democrat. So I don't believe that Trump is racist whatsoever. I don't see that, because I see his employees. I've been to a lot of his properties in the past, and I know that he hires a lot of minorities. So I don't believe that to be true.
Yeah, he's willing to exploit your labor. That doesn't mean he likes you.
Okay, so your claim here is that, well, he actually didn't do what the DOJ accused him and held him liable for doing.
Yeah, but the DOJ says a lot of things that doesn't make it true.
If I finish real quick?
The DOJ says a lot of things. My guy, the question was, do you have evidence of him not being a racist? And you brought that he employs people of different races. And that's all good and fine. I'm sure when the plantation worker has a bunch of other people around him that don't look like the person who's cracking the whip, then that definitely makes them feel like he's not racist. That's not my point. My point is, you were told this is a thing he has done. And so instead of accept that, Donald Trump might have done a bad thing, you just go, nope, that's just the weaponization of the DOJ. The goalpost shifts can always be pushed further.
So you're saying that the DOJ actually was unfairly persecuting Donald Trump, a political opponent. In the 70s, he wasn't running for any public office, so I don't know why you'd say that was a political opponent. But maybe we could look at a more intuitive example.
Well, he's made political statements in the 70s as well.
Okay,
so,
okay. So your claim is that, the DOJ was unfair.
We're talking about the political statements like when he said that he would run with the Republicans because they're stupid enough to believe anything he says.
Really persecuting him. Do you have any evidence of that?
If you go back, do you have any evidence why the DOJ was investigating him in the first place?
Yeah, because they had gotten...
there's no evidence.
I
mean, the
do.
DOJ has been an illegitimate...
He literally has it. He's just like, no, there is none.
...organization for a very long time.
Okay.
So they make a lot of statements, but it doesn't mean that they're going to actually go through with anything. Nothing really happened at the end of the day. It was just a witch hunt at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think you have any evidence for the claim that it was a witch hunt. I think that at the end of the day, this is a conspiracy theory. I think that Donald Trump
Conspiracy theory.
Mind if I finish real quick? Thanks. So I think that at the end of the day, this is going to be a conspiracy theory. I think that the DOJ does this. That Donald Trump would perpetuate a lot of conspiracy theories. He did this with the outcome of the 2020 election. But let's look at another example that's not coming from like the DOJ or like the criminal justice system. And we're like referencing like 2012 through 2014. Donald Trump said that because Barack Obama is black, he's obviously not a U.S.-born citizen. So therefore, he
did not say that he was black. He's not a U.S.-born citizen.
Well, let's talk about the birther movement, right? So I just have a quick question.
Yeah, no, he actually
there was legitimacy question.
He actually did. He did a whole thing trying to investigate where Barack Obama came from. There's a reason why when he talks about the coronavirus, he emphasizes China. There's a reason why when he talks about Barack Obama, he says Barack Hussein Obama. There's a reason he does that. He wants to emphasize the othering. Donald Trump has spent a lot of time learning how to emphasize the way in which other people are different. Said there was no legitimate reason to think Obama wasn't an American citizen. And like this whole thing is birthed from him trying to weaponize a racist base against other people. And it works a lot of the time, which is really creepy.
Questioning his birth certificate.
Questioning his birth certificate. What's the legitimacy?
Questioning because his family came from Kenya. How is he running for president?
Wait, Donald Trump's mother's a Scottish immigrant. Should we question his birth certificate?
They came here through the legal process. He didn't come here through the legal process.
Wait, so you're saying that Obama's parents were undocumented migrants?
One second, I just want to clarify this. Disqualified him as president.
I just want to answer a question.
Which would have disqualified.
I want to ask you a question.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who I'm friends with, looked into the claims of that birth certificate, and there was questions.
Oh, now he's been kicked off. He's been kicked off because he's so bad.
Questions of whether it was falsified.
Wait,
So there was a
you actually
forgery.
believe that? You
Yes, I
actually
do believe that.
Okay,
It was
so you were
forged.
racist
I
just like
do.
Donald Trump.
I'm not racist.
Do you mind
Oh,
if I-
wow. You're calling a Hispanic and a Cuban racist.
Do you mind if I?
You can be racist without being white, my guy. What?
Do you mind if I take 30 seconds here? All right. So first of all, yes.
Another white liberal. All right.
Another white liberal. I'm not racist, but I am going to point out how white you are.
All right. Want to start where you guys left off?
Yeah, I think that hopefully we could slow things down a little bit here, have some productive conversation. So, how about I just start off by giving you my reasons why I think that Donald Trump is racist. So, with the last guy, we kind of touched on the civil litigation that was held against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. But I want to focus upon a more intuitive example.
Maybe don't
proponing,
chew your fucking gum with your mouth
open. The idea
open, my
that
guy.
Barack Obama was not a U.S.-born citizen. So first, I just want to ask you a very simple question. Would you say trying to take away opportunity from a black man because he's black is racism?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
But I think we also have to look into what the administration, when he was in office, did, not what happened back in 1970 when he wasn't even in office and it was a complete different administration making the rules.
Okay.
When he was in office, he gave opportunity zones, gave funding to HBCUs. He also implemented the First Step Act, which I feel like liberals really focus on, our prison system has a majority.
Okay, so HBCUs. George is actually home to 10 of them. Albany State University, Clark Atlanta University. They're historically black colleges and universities. That's what they are for people who might not know.
Majority of African Americans in there. So we gave them an opportunity to get out early, to start a new life. So I think if we're going to go back and look at some stuff of the 1970s, that's not really fair because there's a lot of people on the Democrat side that have done worse things while in office. Joe Biden, who when he was a senator, pushed to get African Americans incarcerated at a higher rate. Like actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And what Trump did in office helped the black community at an exponential amount compared to all the other administrations on the Democratic Party.
Okay, so you're saying what he did in office helped African Americans more than other administrations.
Interesting.
You referenced historically black universities.
Thank you for the follow.
Do you know how
Fizzy
much
Man?
funding he sent to HBCUs?
A decent amount. I can't give you the exact
So the
number.
exact amount was $250 million per year.
Okay.
Do you know how much Obama's administration and Biden's administration have sent?
I would like to hear.
Obama sent $1 billion a year, and Biden sent $4 billion a year. So not only
Trump lowered the amount of money that was being sent to historically black colleges. And don't bro sitting here going, that was a good thing. That wasn't a racist thing.
did he decrease funding to historically black universities, all right, but also you referenced the First Step Act there. How did Donald Trump influence the First Step Act to get passed?
God, look at the shifty eyes on that guy. He's like, oh shit, I don't want to get up.
Through Congress.
Well, how did he influence that bill through Congress?
Answer that question for me.
Because he didn't influence it. In fact, it was proposed to Congress under Obama's administration, and it was shot down. Then something else I did want to
But at the end of the day, as president, he has the ability to sign or send a bill back to Congress, and he signed it. If he was truly racist, he would not have signed it in the first place.
Okay, but
at the end of the day, he still signed it.
You know that racism is in degrees, right? Like, there's the Klansman, and then there's the super Klansman. Then there's the super ultra Klansman. And then there's your weird uncle at the Thanksgiving party. And he may be one of those Klansmen, who knows? But there are people in your life who will be softly racist. They will do a lot of, they're the good ones. These are some of the good ones. Or my favorite one that was told directly to me, there's black people and then there's N-words. These are people who will not act racist 90% of the time. But when something like, I don't know, an uprising happens, suddenly the racism comes out. It's really strange. It's really weird, and it's awkwardly off-putting. These people will do non-racist things, like have black friends, and help repair a friend's house who also happens to be black. And they will, awkwardly, focus a lot on the blackness of their friend when they need to. This whole situation gets really weird. They don't have to be somebody who's engaged in a skinhead organization or a Klansman organization in order to be, you know, a racist.
He has that ability. Just like every president before, if they don't like a bill, they have the ability to send it right back to Congress, and there's congressional means to get it passed without the president's approval. But still, he signed it. If he's really a racist, why did he sign it in the first place?
Yeah, well, I don't think that we could just ignore Trump saying that Obama isn't a U.S.-born citizen and he's probably from Kenya, right? I don't think that we could ignore.
But
like,
here's the
do you
thing,
mind if I finish here, sir?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think that we could ignore the civil litigation against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. I don't think we could ignore his recent comments about Kamala Harris saying that she turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior, just because he signed the First Step Act into law. Like, I understand that does do something for the African-American community, but I don't think we could say because he did this one thing that all of these other examples are null and void. You also referenced Joe Biden there. I have no problem saying that Joe Biden has a racist past. And in fact, I think that's something I need to recognize and we should all recognize. But what I can't stand is when I hear people denying Trump's racism, saying it never occurred when it's so obvious.
But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to explain right now is that Biden has signed bills into law, voted for them, that hurt the community. Trump has not done anything to that extent.
Do you have an example of one of those laws? Because that's one of those things where you have a claim, and now you need to support the claim. What bills did Biden sign that directly hurt the black community, and in which ways were they materially harmful? And if they were harmful, are there more bills that have been signed by Biden that have been more harmful to the black community over things that Trump has done?
Sure, he says some things were maybe a little bit iffy way back. You're citing things from back in the 1970s that did not even have, like, that he couldn't even, like, sign a law or anything like that because he wasn't even in office.
Who cares that he wasn't in office? The character that he had then is a reflection of where he is right now. Either it's a reflection of the journey he's taken up to this point, or it's a reflection of who he currently is and hasn't abandoned. It depends on where he is right now.
Okay. I guess where I want to start with is looking at the actual word racist. I think now
I want to look at the word racist. We're going to get some word games here. I can't fucking wait.
nowadays it's a word that people throw around, kind of like the word love. It is a very powerful word. It has a lot of negative connotation. It has a lot of power that comes with it. When I think of racist, I think of Hitler, who murdered millions of Jews. When I think of racist, I think of the Ottoman Turks that
So it's got to be the Klansman. If it's not a Klansman, it's not racist. This is like when Jonathan Shelley was saying that Steven Anderson didn't beat his wife because it was with a power cord.
that murdered 1.5 million of my people. I think of that. I don't think of Trump, who maybe he said things in the past, this or that. If we want to go about talking about saying things, Biden said Obama is one of the first mainstream blacks to be bright and intelligent. He said that you can only walk into a 7-Eleven if you have an Indian accent. He has said that if you vote for Trump over him, you're not black. He said so many of these things in his past.
And these were things, especially that last one, that the left unilaterally criticized him for.
The prompt is talking about, is Trump racist? But to me, it's not about that because of how the media has displayed racism. They just focus on Trump, and it is about both sides. They don't touch upon Biden. They don't talk about Biden. And when you look at his policy...
Except for all the times that they did talk about Biden and lambasted Biden, especially after how he performed during the debate, or the things that he did during the railway strikes.
Like my friend mentioned, if Trump was a racist, he would not be passing policies. He wouldn't even give $1 to these black universities. If he truly had this, it's an intention.
If you lower the amount of funding that these universities are getting, this is a binary thinker. This is a binary thinker. People who do this binary thinking thing confuse the fuck out of me. It's like thinking, oh, triage theory is bad because you can't heal everybody, right? Getting a person who is injured to be able to walk is bad because they're not going to walk as good as they used to be able to walk, right? This is really, really fucking horrible in terms of apologetics. Do not do the binary thinking thing, except that, oh, if Trump lowered the amount by a significant amount, lowered the amount of support to these colleges by 1/4, and then Biden raised them by 4 times the amount prior to when Trump was in office, prior to that, then that is definitely a black mark on Trump.
Of the heart, and I'll go out and I'll step out and say, I'm sure everybody here has said something racist in their life.
Yeah, I've said racist things all the time. They're usually racist jokes, usually in a group of friends where everybody understands that this is not something that is actually a real thought in my head. It is an edgy joke for the sole purpose of making a couple people laugh around me. Typically, there's a very mixed group of people around me, and when one of these jokes is thrown, a joke at the expense of white people is thrown in kind at me as well. This is typical banter. This is not the same thing as, say, I don't know, denying a person from being able to live in a home because they happen to be black. That's a bad thing. That's one of those things that has actual material effect on somebody that is incredibly harmful and incredibly problematic. Just as I've said racist stuff without meaning to, and there's that too. There's people who say racist stuff without realizing that it's racist. But still.
That doesn't make you a racist. It's kind of like...
Paige says, I hope you don't do those jokes you mentioned today. I don't know what jokes you're even talking about, Paige. Moreover, whatever jokes I have in private conversations with friends of mine also are none of y'all's business. As jokes y'all say in private are none of my business. The Society of Transparency is a fucking spook. Abandon it.
Like if you weigh 400 pounds and you eat celery, you're not skinny. All these examples that you're talking about are from years and years ago. What has he done that's racist in the last maybe 5-10 years?
10 years ago, 2014, Trump was actively proponing Barack Obama's birther myth, the idea that he was not born in
But
the
you already
US.
said that example. Give me something new, because that's...
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're asking for some in the last 5 to 10 years. That was 10 years ago. I thought that I'd just go over that again.
Okay.
Another reason why I wanted to go over that again with you is because how intuitively racist it is, right? Denying or saying that a black man should have less opportunity because of the color of his skin is very obviously racist.
When did he make that comment?
Yeah, so the whole birther myth with Barack Obama, right, essentially hoped to achieve that he wasn't born in the U.S., he was born in Kenya, and because he's not a U.S.-born citizen, he shouldn't have the opportunity to run for U.S. president. The only reason he said that is because of the color of Barack Obama's skin.
But has he
has
explicitly said he said that specifically because he's black, or are you just taking that assumption?
Okay, so what else? What explanation do we have here?
I've said everything I need to say. I'm waiting on you.
I've said everything I need to say. No. For what reason does somebody start a myth like that, if not racism? This is like when somebody says that they're not a racist, they are just a race realist. And whenever somebody's a race realist, they often have a race that does better than other races in their mind. And if you believe there is a race that does better than other races, then you are a racist, because the concept of race was made up by human beings before we could even sequence our own DNA. We didn't know what the fuck a race was. We didn't know how to quantify that, and we still made it up so that we could argue that the other people in the room were deserving of fewer rights than us.
Okay, so I mean, well, yeah, I think that looking at Barack Obama, saying that he was born in Africa and then even denying his birth certificate from Hawaii, still like attributing his birth to Africa, I don't really see any other explanation apart from that, besides the fact that Barack Obama has black skin. And then another example
that's
from
also
like...
a comment. That wasn't a racist action. That was a comment. He's...
Okay.
Are you saying that actions and words are somehow different? Like, no. If you are a politician, you make comments and people take action based on those comments. Your words are actions. Hitler didn't engage in a genocidal action. He engaged in genocidal rhetoric. He did not personally take up the guns and kill a bunch of fucking people. However, he still was responsible for all those people dying. What a weird scenario we live in. Comments can be actions.
What action has he taken part in the last 5-10 years that have been racist against not even just blacks, against other races?
All right, first, I don't think that we should call like African Americans like blacks. I think that's a dehumanizing word. But second of all,
your opinion, but
okay, sorry.
You think it's your opinion to call them the blacks? Wait. Do you want somebody to call you the white? Are we just gonna boil people down to only the color of their skin? I can say black people, white people, Asian people, but I'm not going to say well, there's a word that begins with J that we used a lot in World War II. I'm not going to use that word to respond to people from a particular area in Asia. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm not going to respond to a black person and say, yeah, the blacks. Like, no, that's not a fucking thing I'm going to do. That boils people down to that essential trait and not actually who they are as a person. It strips them of their humanity.
Second of all, right, even if we look at like the last month or two, I'd say that saying Kamala Harris, right, quote unquote, term.
Also, do you like how when he started doing this, watch.
But second of all,
there were 7 people.
Okay, sorry. Second of all, right, even if we look at like the last.
As soon as he did the "that's your opinion" on the "I should be able to say the blacks" thing, 2 more people raised up their flags. That's perfect.
Month or two, I'd say that saying Kamala Harris, right, quote unquote, turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior. That's another racist comment. We could also reference that
because she plays with that. One day she's Indian, one day she's black.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! You got outed as a fucking racist! And then you got kicked out for being a fucking racist. Maybe these people should look at the people around them and ask, if these are the people who share my political beliefs, maybe my political beliefs are kind of horse crap.
It's not true.
Oh, this is going to be good. An old blonde white woman. I can't wait to hear her opinion. I've probably already heard it from the shopping line at Walmart. Let's go. See, I can be racist too.
Howdy.
Very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
So, you're looking back at Donald Trump's history. One thing I do want to say, I don't know if you are aware, Palm Beach didn't used to let African Americans there. Donald Trump sued the city of Palm Beach to allow black membership at Mar-a-Lago. That is not racist. To allow black, the problems that we have a lot on the left.
That actually does seem to be true.
Left, every time there's a disagreement, we get thrown, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're this, you're that. And it dissolves the discussions that we should be having on policies. Secondly, Donald Trump worked with Senator Scott to create opportunity zones in black communities. If he was truly a racist, it's not something that he would do. So I think the whole premise is he's a racist, he's a sexist, takes away from policy positions that we should be discussing. If we go to the board.
Rondo says she thinks Republicans have policies. They do have policies. No. We're not going to do this thing where we pretend that Republicans are inept. They are very adept at what they do. That's what makes them dangerous. The mistake you make is pretending that the monster doesn't have a brain.
Murder. And we talk about rapists and murderers. Yeah, they are happening. Laken Riley is now dead. We have 300,000 missing migrant children known sold into the sex trade, per the last IG report. These are...
Let's see here. An inspector found that from 2019 to 2023, ICE had not issued notices to appear in court to... 291,000 unaccompanied migrant children, and 32,000 children failed to appear based on the IC's funding. UC who did not appear in immigration court are considered more at risk for trafficking, exploitation, and forced labor.
Important issues. Our economy is important issues.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Are you a U.S.-born citizen?
100%.
You are statistically speaking 4 times more likely to commit a violent crime than an undocumented migrant. So when you kind of virtue signal on behalf of that.
They shouldn't be here.
Okay. All right.
And my husband's an immigrant.
Okay, yeah, but
a legal
also,
immigrant.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go and say right now, I still don't understand why people care so much about this. You don't know how people are when they come in from another country. You don't know how they are, generally speaking. If they immigrate here, or they come here on a work visa, or they smuggle themselves in here, either way, they are in America and they are a human being. That should be as far as we fucking care. That should be as far as we care, ever.
Who came here legally.
Okay, I understand.
We've got 100 ISIS in our country right now that was reported. We've got gotaways. We've got 10-day...
We have neo-Nazis as well. What's your fucking point, woman?
Nicaragua. I've interviewed Oscar Blue, who's been through the Darien Gap 4 times. People are dying.
Okay, so you're saying that we have a crisis at the southern border.
Well, I'm saying that you're saying that
Yeah.
Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump loves America.
Okay. Well, first of all,
And
I
he
want to.
He's not racist. He loves America. America.
It's Americans first.
I want to ask you one simple question first, and maybe we could get back to the prompt. Do you think that we have a crisis at the southern border today?
100%.
So you'd say that we also had a crisis at the southern border at the end of Trump's term because we have the same amount of
Actually,
daily
we have the
crossings
low.
today than then?
No, we do not have.
Yes,
the
we
same
have
amount.
about.
During the last four months of the Trump administration, there were on average 2,470 illegal crossings at the southern border per day. During the Biden administration, there's been an average of 6,170 illegal crossings per day. So yes, actually, we do have a few more crossings, about 2.5 times more crossings here than we did under Trump. However, the real question is, should we fucking care about that?
About 2,400 crossings
No, that is
today
not true.
than as we
That
had
is
at the
not
end
true.
of
We
Trump's
have
term
up to
after Biden's executive order.
14,000 crossings a day. The Biden-Harris
The Biden administration. Wait, she thinks that during the Biden administration we have 14,000 crossings a day?
administration put us back into what's called the Global Compact of Migration. They are now using an app where they use our refugee resettlement program to fly people into our country to different states. So for you to say that the Trump administration that did not have catch and release, that is not, and Biden put it back in.
She's floundering so hard.
And then we also had Remain in Mexico, which on day one of Biden's administration, he wiped out.
Because it was ineffective. I mean, we could
Oh,
look
it
at,
was very
Do
effective.
you mind if I talk real quick?
It's just propaganda. It's what you've heard from CNN and MSNBC.
It's just what you heard from CNN. Bitch, it's what you heard from Fox News. Shut the fuck up. I can play that game too.
Actually, how about I provide you a source that isn't CNN, isn't MSNBC, and it's actually a source from Donald Trump's rally. So remember when Donald Trump got shot in his ear? What did he have behind him?
It was the chart that showed the lowest crossings in history.
Do you mind if I talk about that chart?
I
So
have the chart. Should we bring it out?
You have the chart with you?
Yeah, I do.
Bring the chart out.
Can you hand me my purse, someone?
Like you have like an actual
Why the fuck does she have that chart with her? That's weird.
picture of the chart.
I do.
Phenomenal. Let's look at the chart. She is prepared. This is great. Oh, it's on your phone. I thought that you had like an
Well,
actual.
it's a picture.
Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. I thought she had the actual chart. This is less
We
applause
can
worthy.
hold it up to the camera if they want to see it.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe we could just reference the data on that chart. So you're referencing the Remain in Mexico policy. So that was one of Donald Trump's day ones. He only had increasing border numbers until the day he signed Title 42 into effect. Year by year, they only increase.
Is
the
that
Remain
why
in Mexico policy, the wall, it was all incredibly ineffective border legislation. He couldn't get Congress together to pass anything, so then he had to reappropriate
That's
DOD
not
funds
true.
to build the wall.
That's not true. Congress passed H.R. 2. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk since May of 2023. It was the one bill that would secure the border. Border Patrol has endorsed President Trump. Law enforcement has endorsed President Trump.
Okay.
The Biden administration and the Harris administration have failed this nation, and they have allowed
Failed this nation how? Just by letting people into it? I was let in when I came out of my mom's vagine.
this invasion of our country, and Americans are dying. And sorry, these gang members should not be here.
I have a question. So would you say we had an undocumented migrant that was like a felon, a sexual abuser, right, a violent offender, that they shouldn't be allowed in the country?
100%. None of these people should be without process.
Okay, so my question to you would be, well, then why do you want a criminal, felon, sexual abuser to run the country?
Because I believe that we're suffering from an extreme case of lawfare, which I can prove. And, you know, when you look at, let's take, for instance, the New York case, the one that he's going to probably go to jail for, even though he's not guilty.
The 34 felonies?
The 34 felonies that they changed the statute of limitations in order to prosecute him.
Oh,
that they
no, you have your
changed.
cases confused. So they didn't change any statute of
Oh,
limitations?
yes, they did.
1 second.
Oh,
I
yes,
know what
they
you're
did.
referencing. If you'll just allow
Oh,
me.
yes, they did.
You'll just allow me.
Oh,
But
yes, they
not only
did.
that-
Oh,
Can I
yes,
just
they
have 30,
did.
30 seconds real
Well,
quick?
we only have 40 seconds left.
I just
so
want
no,
to clarify.
You can't have
They didn't
30
change.
seconds. You've got the seat the whole time.
Okay, we have 35 seconds left. What were his felonies for?
Okay, so let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the plain and
Okay, so fucking. Let's bring up the felonies. No, let's not talk about the felonies. Nope, not important. Trump Rule 34 is real. Don't look it up.
Simple fact that they moved the number 3 from Biden's DOJ to a state case. Let's talk about the fact that Mark Pomerantz, who worked in the Biden administration, basically pled the fifth 6th time when he said that he was talking to Bragg. And he would not talk about that.
Look at him just eyeing the time. He's just like, I'm just waiting for this bitch to shut up.
And Bragg ran on getting Trump. Let's talk about Judge Merchant's daughter, Laura, who's making millions for the Harris administration and the Biden administration right now in order to prosecute Trump. That is recusal. It's going to get dropped at the Supreme Court. Alvin Bragg should have recused himself. Judge Merchant should have recused himself.
He just sat there and took it because she wouldn't shut up. Yeah, plead the fifth doesn't mean you're not guilty either. Okay, I only have enough time to cover the one part of the video, the is Donald Trump a racist? Look at that face. This bitch has said many words, and I am tired of hearing these words. So she's talking through the alarm. Yeah, so this is actually a Ronald Reagan strategy. Let's talk about it for just a second. So the Ronald Reagan strategy is never play defense, and that's what this woman is doing. The never play defense strategy goes like so. If you are explaining, you are losing. If you are explaining to somebody that something is some way that they did not agree with, that they do not like, you are losing the argument. If you are on offense, if you sound like you're going point to point to point, hammering it into somebody, you sound like you are strong. You sound like you're somebody who knows what they're talking about. That is the Ronald Reagan strategy. Trump and multiple people who adore Trump have been using that strategy for a long time. They are very energized by the dead ghost of Reagan. Yes, it's the illusion of strength. You look like you're strong when you're throwing facts out like crazy, even if you are not actually correct. It takes more time to fact check a single point. And so if you are gish galloping, which is where you are saying a lot of points back to back to back to back to back to back to back, it takes somebody so long to dismember a bad point of yours that it looks like they didn't address all of the things that you threw at them. And it makes you look strong, and it makes you look powerful. To idiots. That's the thing. It makes you look strong to idiots. There is a reason why in Project 2025, they have been trying very hard. The Heritage Foundation specifically, because I think they is a loaded term, the Heritage Foundation specifically has been trying to destroy the Department of Education. It is one of the prerogatives of Project 2025. The reason behind this is they know, the Heritage Foundation knows, that you get more conservative politicians in office when you have a less educated populace. When your populace doesn't know what the fuck is going on in the world, they are more likely to believe your propaganda. And that works out very, very well for a group of people who engage in a lot of hate-mongering in order to get their votes. Crazy Grape says, I believe it's the alt-right playbook video about controlling the conversation. Yes. Innuendo Studios' alt-right playbook video on controlling the conversation is exactly one of the best breakdowns of the never play defense strategy as argued by Ronald Reagan. And it is what she did there. She saw there was only a little bit of time there, and she would look infinitely stronger if she was hammering the dude constantly and never giving him a chance to fact check her. If she could throw 5 or 6 things out in 40 seconds, and there was no time left for him to rebut any of them, to focus on any of them, it makes her look strong. Republicans in the United States today, in the year of 2024, like when somebody looks strong. They do not like when somebody looks weak. And this strategy preys on that naive position. Anyway, that's as far as I can get in the Jubilee video. If you guys want me to cover more of it, I will gladly cover more of it in a follow-up video. But for now, I have to cringe less and I have to cook more. So as we continue my stream, I will be doing some home cooking. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and insert end of video tagline here. Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Agamotto, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.